have the privilege of serving as an Associate Vice Chancellor for Alumni Affairs and the CFO of the UCLA Foundation, and even more so today, the privilege to welcome you to this UCLA Social Enterprise Academy. Welcome. At UCLA, we're fond of quoting our mentor, Coach Wooden, when he challenges us to make each day a masterpiece. And today is exactly that. And our canvas is the work of the past 6 months of these incredible students working in collaboration with our faculty, our alumni, our staff, and our fabulous nonprofit partners in the community. Since 2011, the Social Enterprise Academy has worked with over 40 nonprofit organizations in our community. It's a program that combines teamwork, expert training, individualized coaching in a way that just brings together our students and their partners in building successful business enterprises. And so today we get to see the culmination of that work, and what a privilege it's going to be. So we're so glad that you're here to celebrate this unfolding of this amazing canvas on this masterpiece of a day, and welcome to our campus. I'm pleased to introduce, to get us moving, a friend and a colleague, Professor Andy Atkinson, the Stanley Zimmerman Professor of Economics, and the director of the UCLA Business Economics Program and of this Central Social Enterprise Academy program today. So welcome, Professor Atkinson.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Julie, and thank you all for coming here. We have been doing the Social Enterprise Academy for 5 years, and I just wanted to talk briefly about kind of why this is special for me. I mean, many of you know, by way of background, the goal here is to equip nonprofits in the community with revenue-generating ventures. But for me as a professor, more importantly, is to give the students an opportunity and a stage in which to really develop their talents as leaders. And I just want to say what for me the great reward of this experience is to see this all come together and just sit back and watch the presentations, because it's a great pleasure for me to see just what happens when we get students and outside people, nonprofits in the community together. Oops, and there's my phone. Someone's calling in. So kind of what I cherish about this is the stuff happens that you never would get in a regular classroom. And I get to see that, to meet the people from the community, from the nonprofits. That's a great privilege for me. To have the students come and devote so much of their time and energy to this, it's a great privilege for me to actually have that, to be part of that as well. And I think about kind of the direction that UCLA always needs to head in. And I just want to stress that kind of engagement really needs to be the key for that, to developing an education that's going to work for the students in this century and beyond, is really take advantage of here we are in LA and engage the outside community, get people together, and see what happens. And that's really what we're going to do today. In a few minutes, you're going to get to kind of see what happens when we get people together. So thank you all for coming, and I look forward to the show. I'll now turn things over to Betsy Densmore. So part of this engagement and kind of how this works is I engage Betsy and Archie from the Academies for Social Entrepreneurship. This is not something I'd be able to do on my own as an academic. It's all part of the engagement to build a structure where we can bring people together to make this happen. And so I'll turn it over to Betsy now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So, as Andy said, I'm Betsy Densmore. I'm the Managing Director of Academies for Social Entrepreneurship, an organization which since 2009 has been working to promote social entrepreneurship and the establishment and growth of social enterprises, particularly those that are nested in no-profit organizations. We like to take the nonprofit out of nonprofits, actually, by helping them develop ventures that will generate earned income from the sale of a product or service that is related to their mission. So that's the common denominator of all the ventures that you're going to hear explained today. We've been running social enterprise academies like this one all over Southern California. We've done about 24, but I have to say that by far my favorites are the ones we do in partnership with UCLA, because Andy and the staff and the students bring a level of creativity and energy that we just don't have anywhere else. So we're really grateful for this partnership. You have a couple of things in your program that I want to direct you to. One is you have our criteria. Those are criteria that we use as the baseline for developing, helping each of our nonprofit clients to develop a viable venture or two. And those criteria also get turned into a grading sheet that the judges are going to be using to determine how we should award our $30,000 cash prize pool today. And I want to spend just a few more minutes. Another thing you have is a sheet of paper that looks like this, that has the sort of traditional bio sketch about each of the judges on it. I want to spend a few minutes elucidating that information, because what's so about starting any business is you have to build a business that makes sense to potential investors and customers. And the panel of judges that we have today is I'm very proud of it, because it's a great cross-section of people with experience and wisdom and their own experience as entrepreneurs. And they'll be spending a few minutes after each of the presentations just commenting on the things they see. So we'll have a little bit of an inside look at how they'll go about selecting or awarding the prize money. So in alphabetical order, the first person I want to welcome is Cleveland Brown, who, along with running Pay Scout, is somehow finding time to serve as an officer for the Electronic Transactions Association and as a managing partner at Film Antics, where he's produced a dozen short films and a feature film. Prior to founding Pay Scout, Cleveland worked for Union Bank, integrating at-home banking platforms, and founded VPlex, which helped LAUSD implement e-commerce platforms throughout the school district. So that's, you read that there's a lot of experience. You don't look old enough. I realize they don't, and that's Cleveland right there. Welcome, Cleveland. Next, a few words about Marcia Chu, who's now Vice President of Community Development for Wells Fargo. But she spent many years in the public sector and the not-for-profit sector before crossing over. And I don't really think she's crossed over, because she's still on a lot of boards. Something I particularly appreciate about Marcia is she spent a lot of time thinking and working with organizations around race relations and conflict resolution, including 8 years as the executive director of the Asian Pacific American Dispute Resolution Center, which went through this program a couple of years ago. So kind of fun to have you here on that basis. Next, John Cabara, who almost needs no introduction, but you should raise your hand anyway. John is was a social entrepreneur before most people knew what it meant to be a social entrepreneur. He's worked at startups in both the for-profit and the non-profit arenas, including several internet-based educational organizations. And he also served as CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters, and did a stint here as Vice Chancellor and Chief External Affairs Officer. So he's a UCLA alum and former staff. And finally, he gave our first keynote at our first Social Enterprise Academy showcase here 5 years ago. So welcome back, John. Claudia Sangster. Claudia Sangster is always gracious and always deeply committed to venture philanthropy, and I know that because it's been my privilege to work with her as a partner and board member of Social Venture Partners. And she has also been, as chairman of the board of the Nicholas Endowment, a champion for this kind of programming, for which we are grateful. And she has a day job at Northern Trust, where what she does is spend her time helping people think about
how to make philanthropic and other investments. So welcome back. She's one of our honorary judges. Our other encore judge is Bill Simon. Reading up on Bill Simon, I felt fortunate we made it onto his dance card. His commitment to leaving the world better than he found it is manifest in the fact that he has 2 family foundations, is an adjunct professor in the UCLA Economics Department and the UCLA Law School, and he just got elected board chair of the medical school, hospital here, and he's made several runs for office, notably as governor in 2002. So, great group, have fun, you guys, good luck. And with that, the last person I get to introduce is our MC, Daria Benedict. So, as you'll see, Daria Benedict is the vice president at Participant Media, which you're going to learn a little more about, very exciting stuff. What you should know about Daria is that before she worked for Oprah Winfrey, she also oversaw digital content at The Tonight Show, where she helped create and co-produce exclusive web series. She's earned 2 back-to-back Emmy nominations during her tenure there. And she was recently co-host of 80 weekly episodes of Straight Talk with Ross Matthews. She's been a marketing account executive and a freelance journalist. In short, she is a master of all forms of communication. So I am thrilled to have her serve as our MC today. Welcome, Daria.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Gosh, that is, I've got to live up to that introduction. So I'm really excited to be here with you guys today, and I'm sure everyone here is excited, especially because there's great air conditioning in here. We turned on the heat for you all outside. And I think we're going to have something up on screen, just some pretty pictures for you guys to look at. So this is like Shark Tank for social good. I'm so excited about this. I'm thrilled to be here joining you for this event because it's also a wonderfully full circle moment for me. There is a path that brought me here that to some might seem like coincidence, but I think to most of you in this room, you know that things happen for a reason, and we're all here because we know there's something tying us together greater than that. So aligning your intentions, skills, and passion with a greater purpose is like having this crazy super glue of the universe binding forces of change together all around you. It is that intention that brought us here today, and it's what's behind social entrepreneurship and working together with people to solve the world's most pressing problems at its core. So when I was an undergrad here at UCLA, I was lucky enough to also have worked at a nonprofit, the Center Theater Group. To this day, it was one of my favorite jobs of all time. I look back on it just so fondly. When I graduated, as Betsy said, I've done lots of things in communication and marketing and working for lots of wonderful, talented celebrities whose names you recognize, but I always really was craving going back to that nonprofit world. And if any of you here are immigrants and have foreign parents who are very strict with you, as I am, you will know that my parents would have disowned me if I walked away from a great paying job just because of my feelings, and I wanted to do something different and help people. So I actually got to find the best of both worlds that would satisfy both my desires, help the world, and my parents, hopefully. And that came in the form of Participant Media. So Participant Media is founded and owned by Jeff Skoll, and it is a double bottom line company. And Jeff Skoll was the first full-time president at eBay, and then he became a social entrepreneur. So he made his money first, and then he decided to go out and make films and content, which is probably the right way to do it. So when I saw a list of the films that Participant had made, I realized that every bit of content, from film to TV to digital, was there to inspire social change in tangible ways by giving people something to do after they watched or consumed a piece of content that made them feel a certain way about wanting to change something in the world. And I was like, yes, finally, all my paths have come together, and everything that I've learned as a strategist and leader up to that moment had been conspiring around me all along, and I get to do a job that I love now. And that is very much what the students in the nonprofits and this wonderful program are doing here, is conspiring together with all of their skills in service of a greater good. And so Participant's just a small piece of a puzzle. There's actually one more slide here that many of you also probably relate to more. Does everyone here know who Jeff Skoll is, or is that a new name? Anyone know? Raise your hands. Jeff Skoll, yes, we've got some participant folks here as well. Hey guys. So Jeff Skoll also leads the Skoll Foundation, the Skoll Global Threats Fund, and the Skoll World Forum for Social Entrepreneurs. So those are the sister organizations that help inspire the work that we do in entertainment at Participant. So Jeff created the Skoll Foundation in service of his mission and vision to create a sustainable world of peace and prosperity. The Foundation's mission is to drive large-scale social change by investing in, connecting, and celebrating social entrepreneurs and the innovators who help solve the world's most pressing problems. The Foundation's approach at its center has social entrepreneurs, just like the finalists here today that will be pitching to you guys. Why? Well, it's because these extraordinary leaders and their organizations are creating innovating models to drive equilibrium change, the disruption of social, economic, and political forces that enable inequality, injustice, and other thorny social and environmental problems to persist. So in the words of the Skoll Foundation, social transformation is never the work of a single actor. It is almost always the result of powerful connection and collaboration between innovators, agitators, thought leaders, and those who hold levels of power in business and government. So I think that's just a really eloquent way to say the crazy super glue of the universe that I was talking about before. So with that, I'm really honored to be here. It brings together the work that I get to do, and I get to see it. If there was a program like this around when I was back here at UCLA, I probably would have taken a more direct path to doing what I'm doing, but we're all here today and we all made it, so let's get going. So we are actually going to start with the three finalists and their final showcases. And I'm going to go with the numbers 8, 5, and 3. So there are three finalists. They're each going to get 8 minutes to present their pitch, and then the judges will have 5 minutes to give them feedback. And so I'd love one representative from each of the finalists to come up here and draw a number that will denote the order in which they get to pitch. Hi guys, congratulations, welcome. Let me shake up Betsy's wonderful bag. Okay, draw first, please.
Got one.
One, okay, what organization, team are you with?
The Pure Game.
Pure Game, all right, number 1. So you guys go ahead and get mic'd up. Next.
2.
2, and you are. And you obviously, for formality's sake, get 3, LA Conservation. Oh, can I have your number 3 back? Yes, because we will be drawing for the quick pitches. Great, so while our first group, the Pure Game, is getting ready, I will tell you guys a little bit about Team Pure Game and the mission of the nonprofit. The mission of Pure Game is to provide positive mentors who champion the development of a child's self-esteem and confidence, inspiring them to believe in themselves and the possibilities of a better life. Sounds like a mission I can get behind. How about you guys? Yes. Oh, great. Okay, yes, I will. So finalists, I'm not sure if you guys are aware that there will be a lovely person timing you guys, so you will see cues right here visually as to when you should stop your pitch and get ready for feedback from the judges. And they're color-coded, which I love. All right, welcome Team Pure Games.
By a show of hands, who here has experienced the power of a positive mentor or seen the results, the magical results of actually being a mentor? Great. So you'll know just how important that role is. In a nutshell, that is what Pure Game does. Our mentors provide character education, leadership coaching, and life mentorship programs to at-risk kids through our in-school network partnership. We break down walls, we open, close doors, and we use the power of positivity and encouragement along with sports as a catalyst for change. My name is Tony Everett. This is Michael Salcott. And the venture that we are going to talk about today builds on our success of using sport to engage kids. We intend to run a social enterprise that uses sports-based corporate team building to engage corporate kids. We will reintroduce fun, physical activity. And while the corporation's staff are out there having fun and activity, the proceeds will actually go back to fund our in-school park programs. We look to tackle two major issues with this initiative. The first is workforce engagement. A recent Gallup poll indicates that 70% of corporate America is disengaged, costing millions of dollars. The second is the transition of at-risk youth into the workforce and away from this negative life of bad behaviour. How do I know we do this one? I could share many stories with you, but one springs to mind of a youth I work with at a juvenile hall. Scott is now in community college. He's going to USC next year, and he's working to support himself through these programs.
Thank you, Tony. As Tony just mentioned, the programs that the Pure Game is currently running is perfectly matched to address both of these persisting issues. Scott needed help bringing positive direction into his life, and the Pure Game program was there to act as a guiding light. We'd like to expand our reach, and we plan to do so with bubble soccer. It's a lot of fun. There's a ball out there, you should see it. But we plan to bring kids who graduate from the Pure Game program on the field as assistants to help our staff run corporate team building events in the form of bubble soccer. The kids get to apply the values that they've learned through the Pure Game program with real-world experience alongside America's workforce. And the firm's employees are engaged in an active, collaborative, and constructive environment. From the firm's perspective, we bring them fun. People are better bonded together as a team in a fun, relaxing, and enjoyable environment. But more importantly than that, while they're having fun on the field with these kids, they're going to be gaining a much better understanding of what it is that the Pure Game is devoted to. In the future, we see our potential corporate team building clients as potential donors, mentors, and volunteers for the Pure Game program. We've already seen this in action. We have a partnership with PIMCO, and they've very generously already donated 140 encouragement balls that we use in the Pure Game program. Let's see how this venture would stack up in comparison to its competition. In our research, we've identified two major types of competition for this venture. The first consists of your traditional corporate team building programs, and the second consists of charity events and social causes. The Pure Game has some very compelling competitive advantages in both of these categories. On the one hand, the Pure Game carries a much stronger social mission than the current corporate team building programs that are out there. And on the other hand, these bubble soccer events are going to be a lot more fun than a lot of the social causes and charity events that are currently in the space. In essence, the Pure Game brings the best of both worlds, with a creative and dynamic solution that's going to be refreshing for firms that see a lot of the same offerings year after year. Our business strategy is to build a diverse portfolio of businesses in Orange County and Los Angeles who will continue to use our services year after year. We've already begun reaching out, and in order to gauge the market, we've started with the Pure Game board members' referrals and relationships, and we've already got a few notable clients on board signed up, ready to go. As I said, our favorite one so far is PIMCO in Newport Beach. Additionally, we've done some market research. Based on an Orange County Business Journal poll of the largest 220 companies in Orange County, we whittled down the field to just over 100 companies that we feel are the right size and a perfect fit for this service. But this is just a small sample. As we start to think about the companies that didn't answer the Orange County Business Journal poll and bring in the city that is Los Angeles, we feel that the target market is more than likely 4 or 5 times this size, if not larger. In year 1, we expect to host 10 events. We feel that this is a very realistic and doable number because it's less than one event per month, and we've already got clients signed up. As you can see from our bar graph, this makes us profitable as soon as year 1. Additionally, as we plan to ramp up and do moderately more events in years 2 and 3, you can see that our profits increase dramatically. This is because most of our cost structure for this venture is fixed, meaning that this is a highly scalable venture as well. On average, we plan to charge $3,700 per event. Let's take a closer look at those fixed costs. One of the biggest costs in our budget is public relations and marketing. This is because we plan to hire one employee who is solely dedicated to business development and managing our client relationships. We feel that this is necessary in order to continue to drum up the aggressive expansion that we want to see in years 2 and 3.
If we take a look at our leadership team, we have an amazing leadership team. Me, because of my experience in mentoring kids through the program. Jose, because he is one of those kids and is now mentoring other kids in his area, a neighborhood of Santa Ana, which is one of the toughest areas in the city. And then we have Eric McGrath. He has experience in this field. He leads a leadership development firm and so has some key contacts in this arena. You know, I don't envy you at all today in picking out of any one of our 3 organizations here. 3 organizations are amazing and we will make an amazing impact in our communities. So why Pure Game? Well, your investment will actually help us reach make a difference on the areas that we covered earlier. It will also allow us to bring in kids from the program, as Michael mentioned earlier, as assistants to our program, which will then actually give them the chance to see what corporate life is all about. It will build their confidence and grow their self-esteem. We are asking for $27,000 to launch this program. It will cover all of our startup costs, and it will get us in front of the people we need to see to spread the Pure Game word. It will also help kids realize what a positive mentor will be. I started this conversation asking who had experienced the power of a positive mentor. Your investment will help more kids experience the privilege of a positive mentor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi there, Holly. Great presentation. I love the energy of it. I love the notions of mentoring and the way you started and the way you ended. I think on the mentoring note, I would, as someone who has a lot of experience with mentoring organizations and a big advocate of mentoring, I would have liked to hear a little bit more about that moment of the connection between the corporate mentors and the at-risk youth, the Jose story or something, I don't know. I'd just like to see a little bit more about that recipe.
Yeah, definitely a great presentation. What I really liked about that is looking at how you tied in workforce engagement with the youth and putting that puzzle together to resolve social issues. So, tremendous job doing that. One of the things that I would have liked to see, and kind of piggyback on John here, is just showing how you would measure success ultimately through the mentorship. And if you could show how you measure that success, it would give it much more impact.
I also think that it was very fun, entertaining, informative, motivating. Anyone that has your accent is going to have a difficult day. That's understood. If you're going to give this kind of a presentation to other investors in the future, though, I think that the comment about, I didn't hear about how you're going to measure your success. I wasn't sure what the tie-in between, you have your young people come in as assistants, and then where do you use the funds from this program in order to expand what you do with those young people in schools? I wasn't quite sure. So I just would be a little clearer on how the funds will be utilized from the corporations to fund the rest of your programs.
Thank you. I serve on a board in Santa Ana, so I know that you must have done extremely good research to know that that is a community of great need. So I'm glad you identified Santa Ana. And I think in your presentation, I see your intent as mentors for the young people, but I was wondering what the incentive is for the corporations to be involved. I'd like to see a little more about how you would motivate them to invest and to be involved in this program.
I thought your presentation style was a 10. You know, I really thought that was a very strong aspect of your overall presentation, and it's important. You know, I teach rhetoric here at UCLA in the law school, and I think that presentation style is key. So you should be congratulated on that. I was a little bit unclear as to your business model in terms of drilling down to the margins and that type of thing. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more detail on that, but overall, outstanding.
All right.
Guys, great job going first. So next up, we're going to have the PS I Love You Foundation team, so number 2. And we'll have the judges suit up in the bubble soccer outfits. Just kidding. So the mission of the PS I Love You Foundation is to develop and implement effective social and emotional learning programs for at-risk youth from elementary to high school to influence positive habits, social and emotional awareness, and healthy relationships. And I think it's just so great to remember that there's real money that's going to go to real social good at stake here. And a little bit later in the program, the audience will have an opportunity to vote on some additional pitches to award some additional funding. So start thinking like the judges and listen to the questions they're asking before you guys get to hear the fast pitches. Is everyone having fun? Yes. How many people think that they can get up here and pitch in front of these hardcore, awesome judges and take that critique and feedback? Everyone feel like brave enough? Or a few in there. A few in there. It's not an easy thing to do. I'm glad you guys aren't judging my emceeing skills or giving feedback. It's a good thing. Woo! Right.
Human emotions. Emotions are what allow us to laugh. Emotions are what allow us to cry or say I love you. We all have them, yet we all know people who seem to be lacking. We all know people who don't show the emotions that we think they're capable of. Why is that? Why do some people emanate confidence and empathy and gratitude while others cannot? See, from a young age, we learn everything under the academic umbrella ranging from math to grammar. But in terms of the skills that we need to live our lives to the fullest, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Achieving success and happiness in life cannot be measured simply by what we put on a piece of paper, by a GPA or a salary. There is more beneath the surface that allows us to truly thrive by having meaningful relationships and making a personal impact on the people around us. And understanding these skills needs to start at a young age.
So wouldn't you agree that our world is in desperate need of a new language? It's called emotional literacy. Why? Put down your cell phone. Look at me in the eyes. Talk to me. I'm standing right here and I have something to say. Our world is upside down. We're focused on what's above the iceberg. And below it, our kids are crumbling. You can see it. It's in the media. We're having a hard time. Our kids aren't even nice to each other. Adults aren't even kind to each other. Our communities aren't kind to each other, and our countries aren't even kind to each other. Look at what's happening in our countries right now. Suicide level is crazy. Even in Los Angeles, it's up against Palo Alto. Every 100 minutes, a youth is committing suicide. 160,000 kids do not go to school every day out of fear, out of violence. That is wrong. We have a problem. Social and emotional development, social emotional intelligence needs to be taught. Why? There's only 6 emotions we are born with. That's fear, anger, disgust, sadness, surprise, and joy. Any other emotion you ever felt in your lifetime needs to be taught. But if the schools are overworked and they're not teaching it, if our families are overwhelmed and they're not teaching it, where is it coming from? PSI Love You Foundation has been producing and implementing social emotional development for 18 years, way before there was even an educational space for it. We've spanned about 25 schools, reaching 12 to 14,000 kids a year, empowering tens of thousands of kids to date. We have a great story with one of our programs. We cannot keep the demand up. It's called Love for Life. It comes with a community practice journal. It has an instructor guide. We have instructors ready to go. We have 12 people already trained. If you came to see this class, you'd want to teach it. It makes a huge impact on the psyche of a child. And when they get out of the program, they're conscious, competent, competitive with themselves. They want to be civic leaders. They want to make themselves better. We're doing a great job. We want to do more.
So who we've been helping for 18 years now are the kids in the lower income areas, the at-risk youth. They have absent parents or a single parent who doesn't have the time to spend with them. They have extremely manipulative after-school pressures that can lead to violence or anger. They obviously need these social emotional capabilities because they don't have a foundation from which to learn them. And obviously they cannot pay for such a program. But what we've also seen is that students in the higher income areas need this as well. They have pressures from their coaches, from their family, from their friends. The idea of getting into a good college seems to creep into the discussion of academics at a younger age every single year. They have to learn how to cope with the twists and turns that life may throw at them. And what we've recognized as well is that they can pay for a program like this. So what our plan is to bring this Love for Life program to the higher income areas of the Los Angeles County. We can help the nearly 2 million kids who also need these social emotional capabilities and use that money that we make from those programs to funnel it into those lower income areas and expand to help more at-risk youth every single year. The program is as follows. It's a 15-week program. Kids are going to meet with the same teacher every single week to develop a very comfortable rapport. It's going to be limited to 25 students, so they really know the people they're working with, and they're going to be able to divulge their most serious and emotional issues going on in their life. And lastly, it's a $285 enrollment fee in these higher income programs, because this will give them a spot in the class, it will give them a personalized textbook for the duration of the program, and it will cover any miscellaneous classroom supplies as well. So what we want to do in the first year is implement 4 programs in this higher income area. This will bring us a profit of over $8,000. And while the cost of a program in a low income area is just over $3,000, that will allow us to impact 70 new kids in the lower income area. By helping these at-risk youth, we can change their lives for the future. And what we see as well, what we want to emphasize, is that once we make our money back in these higher income areas, we can help 3 students for every student that we help in the higher income area. That is, for every $285 enrollment fee, we can then go help 3 at-risk youth and change their lives for the future. And here's our business plan. So year 1, we want to just stay in the schools. We have a place where we can go, and it's very cheap to rent from those classrooms. We also want to go to a community center at year 2. So these community centers will have a much larger established network that we can use, and will allow us to get into the community much more effectively. Lastly, 5 years from now, we hope to be very similar to the Mathnasium studios that we see around the country. A standalone studio in which we are a center for social and emotional development.
But it's been really hard. For 18 years, PSI Love You Foundation has been sustainable. We've been reaching kids every year. We don't have any staff. We have a stable background of volunteers. But to move forward, I mean, we're at this tipping point and we're being pulled with our programs. We can't keep up with the demand. and I can't do it anymore. You know, I'm a mom of 2 young kids, and I want to be that parent given the social emotional development with my kids. We need help. Our ask to help us with a liaison to help it move forward would be $30,000 for a part-time person working 4 days a week to help us manage everything we have going on with the schools, instructors, communication, students, pre and post evaluations, and marketing.
Lastly, we want you to remember that this program transforms the lives of children. There are kids who don't like going to school in the morning. They don't like coming home from school either. And worst of all, they don't like themselves. With your help, we can change that.
I was not comfortable in my own body. I would always keep my secrets to myself.
I really didn't share my feelings.
From the beginning, having tons of issues, such as bullying, being disrespectful, not having a lot of integrity or gratitude. It's changed dramatically. And I see it in the students. I've been told by their parents, by other faculty members, more confident as to what they present.
Everything has changed. There's been less name calls. There's been more respect. Even the shyest person has come out of their shell.
I'm more open to my parents.
I have said to myself, you're quiet.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for what a very, very smooth delivery, great examples. I love the concept. I just have a couple of questions that I would hope that you could address if you do this again for funders. I hope you will talk more about how you know you're doing a great job. You can talk about outputs, but how are you measuring outcomes? Because I don't hear enough about how you're measuring the impact of what you're doing on the lives of those who are going through your program. Another question that popped in my mind when you talked about using the funds from high-income participants, which is a great idea. How are you going to attract already heavily over-scheduled high-income individuals who want to participate in a 15-week program? I'm just curious and hope that you will address that, because the first thing that came to my mind was 15 weeks and all of these children already are so overscheduled and participating in so many things. How do you intend to draw them into your program? But I really enjoyed hearing about your program. It's very unique.
I do find your premise very, very compelling, and I think the testimonials from the kids make the strongest point. But I'd also like to suggest that perhaps you give a little more detail on the program, how, the who, what, where, and how you will implement the program.
Excellent job. Emotional literacy. I mean, that's such a powerful thought in terms of what you're trying to accomplish. Myself, I've coached for years, volunteering my time and seeing the impact that it has on kids. So, really commend you on taking that approach. What I would ask for is, you talked a little bit about demand, and you didn't really identify it well enough for me. I'm sure we can have a conversation, you can articulate that, but it'd be nice to give that sense of urgency of the demand and the pressures on the organization.
I also was impressed. I think the concept is so powerful, and we all know it, particularly with that iceberg kind of metaphor, that there's a lot of work that we have to do. We have to do below the surface and really engage people, young people in particular, and with their emotional literacy and their emotional capabilities. I really echo Claudia's question about attracting very busy people to the program that are going to basically be part of that financial loop of sustainability, which I think is interesting. I think if you talked about high need areas that happen to be high income and low income, because there's a way of trying to get a heat map on where there's needs that you're seeing for the demand of the services, not just what appears to be an unintentionally kind of a charitable loop. It's really there's a need loop that's connecting people, and I think if you made that connection, I think it'd be very powerful.
You know, I thought your presentation style, you could lighten up a little bit. Maybe smile a little bit more. Neither one of you smiled once, not once, during the entire presentation. And I think you've got a very compelling idea. And there's got to be some emotion behind it, you know, positive, negative. Try to, you know, bond with the audience below the iceberg. I think your business model is good, it's strong. I think we've all had experience with nonprofits that impact a lot of people in the form of a touch, and then others that impact people profoundly. You impact young people profoundly. I would tend to focus a little bit on that. You had the testimonials at the end, which are good, but I think you could also give examples of how profoundly you impacted these young people.
Thank you. P.S. That was awesome. Good job, you guys. And last but not least, we have Team Los Angeles Conservation Corps, who are getting ready and miking up right now. And their mission is to provide at-risk young adults and school-aged youth with opportunities for success through job skills training, education, and work experience with an emphasis on conservation and service projects that benefit the community. And while we're waiting, you know, I think it's important to note, or maybe it wasn't clear, that the presenters are actually one student and one staff member from the nonprofit, but sometimes it's hard to tell. They're just both so professional. So the students have done such a wonderful job in these presentations. And I also would like to just take a moment and acknowledge and give thanks to something that's very important here, which is that, of course, you know, UCLA funds this program, but they could not do it by themselves. And so we want to thank the multi-year support from two of our large funders, the Nicholas Endowment and the William E. Simon Foundation. So thank you guys for helping to continue and hopefully will happen for years and years to come with lots more people coming on board. All right, Team 3, the Team LA Conservation Corps.
In Los Angeles, 1 out of every 3 high school students failed to graduate. 1 out of every 3. It's one of the highest dropout rates in the nation currently. Dropouts are 8 times more likely to commit a criminal offense and are not eligible for 90% of all jobs offered in the United States. The Los Angeles Conservation Corps gives dropouts a second chance by offering them educational and employment opportunities with a focus on conservation. Through this unique dual mission, we're able to provide for at-risk youth populations while also implementing various service projects throughout the city of Los Angeles. Over the past 30 years, we've worked with over 20,000 at-risk youth and volunteered over 200,000 hours of job training. Our service projects range from clearing hiking trails to renewing urban centers. In addition, over 90,000 trees have been planted and over 50 community gardens have been established in Los Angeles. Our goal is to create an even greater impact by tackling one of California's greatest threats, the drought.
California is currently in one of the most devastating droughts we've ever seen. In the Central Valley, thousands of homes are without running water. It's so severe that last month, Governor Jerry Brown made permanent some of the water restrictions he had enacted last year. Californians throughout the state are looking for ways to conserve water, and many are taking out their thirsty lawns and putting in native, drought-tolerant landscaping, as you see here. This is an increased demand we're hoping to meet with our venture. The Los Angeles Conservation Corps already does a lot in the water conservation space. We install drought-tolerant landscaping on public property, and we also install rainwater capture systems. With your help, we hope to start a new venture that will enable Angelinos to save more water, it will give more job training opportunities to youth, and will help us restore our local ecosystems. So our venture that we'd like to introduce you to today is a wholesale native plant nursery, and our youth will grow the plants for us to sell to public and residential landscaping projects. We've already identified a space for the nursery and established partnerships. This is a photograph of Los Nogales Nursery, which we built for the Audubon Center in Debs Park. It's currently being operated by the National Park Service, and we're going to partner with these two organizations and take over maintenance of the nursery and expand it, and in exchange we'll get free rent and training for our core members. We'll start the nursery by contract growing for our own landscaping projects, and we need 15,000 plants per year for these. Then we'll start selling to retail nurseries, and we'll also leverage current relationships with other local conservation corps and landscaping companies to market our plants for their projects. And finally, when the nursery is more established, we will introduce extensions, including corporate service projects and an eco-friendly product we can sell in the retail nurseries and online. We're confident in the success of our venture because of our ready workforce, our established space, our in-house expertise, and our capacity for growth because the nursery business is all about scale.
The landscaping industry in the market for the landscaping industry in Los Angeles exceeds $650 million a year. In a worst case scenario, we hope to capture 0.04% of this market share, resulting in over $30,000 net profit. In a best case scenario, we hope to capture 0.1% of this market share, resulting in over $78,000 in net profit. It's important to note that for this business plan, we hope to use our existing relationships with the City of Los Angeles and the various park and recreation departments that we're already involved with. But we also hope to leverage private companies, private contractors and landscaping companies within the area. We've already reached out to quite a few, and they've all expressed great interest in our venture. The majority of them have said that they'd be willing to do business with us. It's important to note the various competitive advantages of this venture. In particular, we have a dedicated staff that already has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to native plants. We have no direct competitors, as we would be the only wholesale nursery in Southern California that offers job training. Most importantly, we have a strong relationship with the City of Los Angeles and an in-house demand exceeding 15,000 plants. So we already need these plants for our projects.
We're investing $115,000 to start the nursery, and that will cover the cost of construction for the nursery and also some equipment we need to purchase and an irrigation system. It will also cover the first 6 months of our operating expenses before we see any sales, because it will take 6 months to grow the plants. And after that, we anticipate we will sell 27,000 plants in the first year. And our break-even analysis shows we need to sell 21,300 plants to break even. We're confident we can reach these goals because, as you'll remember, we have a demand in-house for 15,000 plants, and also because we receive positive feedback from our customer service. And every year after the first year, we plan to sell another 8,000 plants on top of that. So the nursery business is a wholesale business. It's profitable when scaled. So you'll see that we are fully sufficient and profitable by year 3, and that's when we'll be making $2.50 profit on each plant, and we will be able to pay back our debts. We're confident that we can scale this venture beyond the financial projections we're showing you here for the first 3 years because of a project that you may have heard about in the news. It's the LA River Restoration. This was a $1 billion plan that was approved last year by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they're going to need 13 million plants for this project. Various projects along the river. So that's a demand that the market in Southern California can't currently meet. We think that this whole plan will generate a total of $65 million in native plant sales. So if we capture 10% of that, we'll make $2.6 million in profit and sell 1.3 million plants potentially over 10 years. But this will allow us to expand the nursery at a much faster rate. This is our executive management team at the core. Between the 4 of them, they have 3 professional degrees. They manage multi-million-dollar projects with complex operations, and they have decades of experience. They also offer a wealth of knowledge and expertise from the private sector. They come from banking, business, and law.
So we are asking for $115,000 to be paid back over a 3-year period at a fixed interest rate of 6%. This is in order to cover our startup costs, including labor and materials. There are various impacts from this venture. It'd be great brand awareness for our organization. On top of that, we'd be able to decrease the effects of the drought by adding these native drought-resistant plants. Most importantly, we'd change the lives of hundreds of at-risk youth and give them an opportunity to succeed in life.
So help us make a difference in the lives of our youth and the environment that we all share.
Thank you.
Great job. I thought, number one, I thought your presentation style was great. Very compelling, very good. Secondly, I think that your product is, your niche is very strong. And I think you focused on that rightly. I don't have a lot of, critical thoughts for you because I thought you were really outstanding.
I like the presentation too. I like the visuals, I like the images, and I like the compelling messages that follow the words. And I think that's important because we have to kind of follow along the story and get along the criteria. I think it would have been the idea of the $115,000 that at the end at 6% interest. I think there's some other creative ways that you could be thinking about that kind of financing. So I think I'll just say that, and you should explore that, and I'm happy to talk to you about it later.
Yes, excellent job, excellent presentation, excellent story. I'm glad you wore green shirts. Kind of drove me into the presentation. The couple things. I mean, it's great concept, great ideas. My ask from you would be just really looking at customer acquisition costs. And when you talk about bringing in nurseries, retail nurseries, and what does that look like? How would you articulate that in terms of the real dollars? Just when you actually get out there and you're trying to secure these contracts, I know it can be difficult, but great job in terms of identifying an opportunity as well with the City of LA and the Freeway Project. So, excellent.
I have to also say you did a fabulous job in articulating the dual mission and how this project and venture would actually meet both the mission outcomes. I think that one of the questions I had that I hope that you would put in your presentation going forward is, one, why is the best case scenario only 1%? I think, wow, this is a huge market, why wouldn't you get more? And then when you mentioned that that you didn't have any competitors, I kind of said, well, wait a minute, there's got to be other wholesalers out there. Yes, they may not be wholesalers who have, as part of their mission, workforce development, but what is your competitive landscape from other wholesalers, and how will you match up to them in terms of competition and in terms of how you price your products? Also, it'd be great for you guys to tell us your names, because I don't know who's the staff and who's the student, because you're both so young looking, so that's good. And I love it that you've already identified your first nursery location, so that gives you a step up right away. And for a funder, that's a really important concept to us. And then that you have the LA Revitalization Project. If you've already had discussion and or contracting conversations, you should say that you are their go-to wholesaler for that project. So that would be a powerful message to any funder.
Excellent job. LA Conservation Corps has great branding, so that's a big advantage for you. I think you also did a great job telling the narrative story very, very well. It flowed nicely, it was very clear, it was easy to follow, and so it didn't present a lot of questions for me. I also would like to suggest that you emphasize the partnerships, the existing partnerships that you have, and to talk more about the strengths of your connections in Los Angeles. And again, very attractive slides, great presentation, and very clear narrative.
Great job, Team LA Conservation Board. I think what the judges were effectively saying there is that didn't succulent. Thank you for laughing, I'm glad that you had to say it. In fact, it was fantastic. Sorry, but yes, we may give feedback on this, yes. So before we move on to the next part of the program, let's all just give a huge round of applause to all three finalists. Of 6 months of hard work. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask one representative from each of the 6 elevator pitches to come up here right now, because we're going to do another fun drawing to determine order. And you guys are also in the audience going to be receiving ballots that are going to be coming around to you. So let's shake these up. You may be the first draw, yes. Okay. First draw, and then tell me which organization you are. Four, and Neighborhoods Orange County, number 4. May I have the number, please? Yes, you should stay up here because you guys are going to do your elevator pitches, and you guys are going to have a mic, no mobs, so you guys are going to go rapid fire. Thank you. Moment of truth. Number 3, what team are you? Spread the word Nevada is going to be number 3. Woo, all right, next up. So exciting. Number 6, and what team are you? Oceans Global. You guys are going to be going 6. 5, what team are you? Best gift ever. Alright. Okay. 2, and what team are you guys? Q Foundation, number 2. And Melody Singh. Is that you? Heal One World. Okay, great. So, elevator pitch time. Get everyone up here, and I know that there's going to be microphones coming. I know it's been an exciting program so far, so we've got elevator pitches coming up now, and then we're going to have an amazing keynote presentation, and in the meantime the judges are deliberating. I feel like we should be hearing Final Jeopardy music right now. And we have the elevator pitch groups. Come on up. Come on down. In your order. So again, the order will be Heal One World will go first, and maybe you guys can line up. Heal One World, Q Youth Foundation, Spread the Word Nevada, Best Gift Ever, Neighborhoods Orange County, Oceans Global. Alright, so same thing, you guys are going to be timed. It is going to be, I believe, 2-minute elevator pitches. The timer is right there. Audience, listen in. You should have ballots. Is everyone getting ballots, or do some people have ballots? Ready? Okay, great. So you guys just go, one after the other.
My name is Sky Kelly, and I'm the Executive Director and founder of Heal One World. I'm standing before you today, even though I was told when I was 18 years old that standing unassisted was highly unlikely because I was gravely injured in an auto accident. I was also told by the insurance company's doctors that I should be looking for a job as a ticket taker with my one good arm. I didn't find this to be particularly appealing, and I decided that this wouldn't be my future. So I sought out other kind of therapies, including something interesting, osteopathic, craniosacral, Feldenkrais, and these modalities, they changed and saved my life. When this happened, I went out and became a realtor, I became a filmmaker, and a scuba dive master. But I wasn't fulfilled because I knew that there are still people like me out there that really needed these services. So I became trained in some of them, and I started Heal One World in 2009. We have helped over 10,000 people since 2009, through classes that we offer for free, as well as providing treatments on a sliding scale, and we partner with the Venice Family Clinic. When I had to do the 501c3 paperwork myself rather ambitiously, they had me have to choose what fundraiser we would have. And I decided as a filmmaker and as someone who social impact media is very important, that there wasn't a film festival that highlighted that appropriately, and that would be maybe a little more appropriate than a fancy dinner for us to raise funds. So the Awareness Film Festival is in its 7th year. It's at LA Live. It's 11 days long now. It's October 6th to the 16th. And my ask to you is that you look us up, awarenessfestival.org. We feature films, over 150 films. They're international films. And come out, bring a friend, and your ticket supports what Heal One World does, along with all the organizations that take part in our film festival. So I hope I see you there.
Hi, my name is Albert. I'm with Q Youth Foundation. So I guess I'll begin. I think the typical person works 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's about 40 hours a week. Now imagine feeling uncomfortable in that space just because you decide to be who you are. Now this is a real problem for LGBT members who have a different sexual identity or sexual orientation than a normal person. And I don't think that that's fair for those people to experience. Would you agree? So what is Q Youth Foundation? Q Youth Foundation is an organization that's starting a movement in East LA to create safe spaces for people where they can come and they can be themselves. They can share stories, funny stories, stories of triumph, stories of sorrow and sadness. And they can come together, be comfortable with themselves, and be comfortable connecting with other people. So imagine me up here. My hair is a little bit longer. Imagine me, would you be judging me because my hair was a little bit longer just because I choose to express myself in that way? I don't think that that's fair. And I don't think that in the workplace where people spend 40 hours a week, that should be fair either. So Q Youth Foundation's solution to this problem is a program called Out and About, a professional networking space where we invite LGBT members along with allies who value inclusion in the workspace to come together and network. And we think that this is like a valuable thing that people in California need and people across the United States need. In LA alone, there's 154,000 people, LGBT members, and in California, it's over 1 million people. And those are just LGBT members alone. We want our venture to encompass both LGBT members and allies. So, Out and About is about a movement. Let's bring together LGBT members and non-LGBT members and take the safe spaces to the workplaces. Thank you.
By a show of hands, how many of you remember your first book or had a mentor to read to you at night every day? A few? Okay. Well, I know I, for one, would not be here without my 2 best friends, Charlie Brown and his dog named Snoopy. Nevada ranks dead last in the nation in terms of children's literacy, and this problem spreads throughout the world. Our organization, Spread the Word Nevada, donates over 42,000 books a month to at-risk youth. As of right now, we're already in 42 elementary schools, but we need help getting into 39 other schools just in Southern Nevada. Our venture, called Page It Forward, is a corporate team building event that invites your company to come in and compete in a book cleaning race that will help not only engage your employees, but it will also help the youth throughout the nation. This venture will allow us to spread to over 3 new schools every year. That means thousands of students will get 1 book a month, and that book will help them change into the leaders that they are meant to be. An investment in Spread the Word Nevada is an investment in our nation's youth. We invite you to help us fight the problem of illiteracy and join our team. Thank you.
Hi, how's everyone doing today? Good. Hi, how's everyone doing today? Good. I'm John with Neighborhoods Orange County, and fundamentally we believe that people who work hard, who sacrifice, earn a home and deserves a chance at achieving the American dream. Currently, there's a crisis in the Orange County area. Housing prices are at 6-year highs, and rental rates are at historic highs. And so there's two things that's happening right now. Number one, a lot of poor and often minority families are being pushed out of their rental homes. And number two, a lot of families who want to build a better future for themselves and enter a better neighborhood can't because they can't afford a home. And so what we've been doing is providing financial services to a lot of these families. And that looks like a down payment loan. And basically we'll collect interest off that. There's about 700,000 people that we can potentially help. And we need your support and we need your funding in order for us to run an outreach program basically aimed at making a lot of these people aware about our services. Because truthfully right now, they don't know about us. The government has also given us $3 million. I said that right, $3 million. And we can only use that on giving loans to these low to middle income families. And we need to use this money now because if we don't use this money, we risk losing everything. And so I need your help. And we sure love your support by voting for us because it really means something. For a lot of these kind of low to moderate income families, they're often minority and relatively poor, they grow up with the cards kind of stacked against them. And despite all these barriers, they fight like hell to really build a better future for themselves. And so personally, I think it's a great opportunity for you all to support and kind of give back to these families. And hopefully, together, we can help a lot of these families achieve their dream. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. My favorite memory growing up was camping outdoor in the desert with my family, a complete escape from city life. All of our family trips were spent outdoors, and they were spent in a healthy way, and they solidified my relationship with my parents. Today, I'm away at school here at UCLA, busy as always, and the few times I do get to see my mom, I am constantly on my phone. I constantly justify why I'm on my phone by saying, "Mom, I'm answering emails," but in reality, our relationship has changed. I understand that our relationship is important, and I can easily put my phone on silent, but it takes more than that. Our relationship requires and deserves quality, uninterrupted time spent in a healthy way. The best gift ever understands this. They understand that parents don't have time to plan and organize these outdoor events with their families. So we plan it for them. The best gift ever wants to create the best gift ever provides a safe environment for families to experience new outdoor activities in a fun, planned, and facilitated way. The best gift ever ensures that parents can bring their children and have a positive and uplifting experience in this new outdoor activity, that they can create a stronger bond with their children, and that their children can pull away from the screens, even just for a moment. Parents see the importance of this, and as someone who has grown up and seen the change that technology has had on our modern culture, I too see the need for an organization like this. We are the best gift ever, bringing families together, one outdoor activity at a time. Thank you.
Look around. We're sitting next to our friends, family, coworkers, loved ones. But what if they were blocked from us? What if we were isolated completely from them? Patients in drug rehab centers undergo this type of isolation every single day. Our current methods for substance abuse rehab are just not working. Relapse rates are up 50 to 90%. A few months after these patients come out of rehab centers. There's a clear need for a new and long-term solution. Oceans Global is here to provide ocean-based therapy to rehab patients. We have three major advantages. Ocean-based therapy is clinically proven to be more effective than many of the indoor therapies that are currently provided. Just think about it. Would you rather be outdoors on the sea with your family, or would you rather be locked indoors, isolated with nobody? Secondly, Oceans Global is creating an alumni network that will support
sober patience for the long term. And thirdly, Oceans Global also is partnering with many influential organizations, including Hub SeaWorld and social environmental entrepreneurs. Our business model is to take all this revenue that's going into indoor therapies and translating some of that into outdoor ocean-based therapy. We are already creating traction. We have partnerships and developing negotiations with the Serenity Recovery House as well as Miracle House in order to create pilot programs. And Oceans Global won't just stop at drug rehab. We're planning to expand into helping patients with PTSD, anxiety, and many, many other difficulties. So there are many great organizations that are pitching today, but what makes Oceans Global special is that we're here to help save people and give them a passion for life again. These rehab patients are our friends, family, and people that we really love. So please help us help them change their lives. Thank you.
Great job for the elevator, kids. Oh, I am not sure where this mic should go, but I will take it from you. You guys don't need to hear me in stereo. So everyone, you've heard all 6 of the elevator pitches. Remember, $4,000 is at stake here. That is a lot of stuff that I don't need on Amazon that I could buy with that money. So make sure you guys vote. Your ballots will be collected and the winners will be announced at the end when we announce the winners of the finalists as well. And so next up, we're going to shift pace a little bit from an elevator pitch to something that I am very excited about. We're getting ready to get into the keynote part of our presentation. And does everyone have their ballots in and gotten them and all that? Good? Good? Okay. We're finishing up the ballot process. So until this moment, we've had a lot of excitement. So far, we have had ideas and inspiration and timing. All right, let's wait till everybody just settles down just one little bit before I tell you about the amazingness that is Ashoka. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Ashoka is the largest network of social entrepreneurs worldwide. They have nearly 3,000 fellows in 70 different countries. They are creating the next generation of social entrepreneurs, not unlike the program that we are witnessing the fruits of today. Beverly Schwartz is their senior strategic advisor and author. And besides all of the amazing things that are in her bio in the program, I also learned that she's a behavioral scientist. So I'm fascinated to hear what she has to say in this presentation that she's going to give us, which is a real treat for everyone here today to hear. So please welcome to the stage, Beverly Schwartz.
Thank you. I'm a little bit blown away by all the pitches today. I work with hundreds of fabulous social entrepreneurs, and I have to tell you, I thought this was amazing. I really did. And actually, your presentation was so great, I'm slightly intimidated right now. But we'll start. And you gave me a great leg up because I was going to talk about sort of what makes an entrepreneur and what makes a social entrepreneur different than an entrepreneur. And I think we just saw some great examples of social entrepreneurs. I'm going to start today with a little bit of a myth, a fable. I don't know how many people have heard of the frog in the pan story. But the story goes that scientists put a frog in a pan of cold water. In a pan of hot water. And the frog immediately jumped out. Not surprising. But then they put another frog in a pan of cold water, and they turned up the heat slowly and surely, and the frog just sat there and basically boiled to death. And what this story is a metaphor for is that we tend to go through, it's a metaphor for the fact that we tend to be very complacent about things that happen over a long period of time, like the environment, like the gap between low income and high income and the ramifications of that. And if they go on for a long enough time, we tend to start ignoring them and we don't do much about them. And the scary thing about this story is there really is no standing still. You're either slipping back or you're moving forward. And every day, people should say to themselves, am I happier today than I was yesterday? And am I more fulfilled? Am I more prosperous? Am I doing more to help the social environment of the world? And as we think about these questions, there's a whole group of people that actually tend to do something about the answers to these questions. And some people just, you can read this for yourself because I tend not to read my slides. But some people just say, what happened? They look around, they have no clue. And some people ask, did something happen? Some people don't even notice that something happened. And some people just make it happen. And as a behavioral scientist, I've always been really fascinated by a type of person that can take what is and what if and make it into what can be. And these people I discovered many years ago are what I would call entrepreneurs. They're just not normal. Look around the room. They just do things that other people don't do, and they take the risks that other people aren't willing to do. So remember the people that I said they just do it? Well, these are the type of people, entrepreneurs, whether they're a business entrepreneur or an innovation entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur, they just make things happen. And a good definition is in 1900, a German economist named Joseph Schumpeter defined entrepreneurship as the creative force necessary, as the creative force of destruction necessary for the economy. So, and I keep on saying destruction, and I really meant to say disruption. So forgive me about that one. I don't know why I keep on replacing that. But entrepreneurs are necessary for the economy. So in general, they're all disruptors. They disrupt systems. So when you think about a lot of the social entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs that you know now, Google, Microsoft, I'm using technology because it's kind of interesting and most people know them. They have disrupted a system. The system will never be the same after its disruption. And in fact, as the world is getting faster and faster, more things get disrupted more and more quickly. And so to keep pace, entrepreneurs keep on entrepreneuring. And so I have the privilege of working for the past 11 years at the organization Daria introduced, which I cannot tell you how exhilarating it is to work with leading social entrepreneurs every day. There are over 3,000 Ashoka Fellows around the world, and why we call them leading social entrepreneurs. And I'm only going to give you a couple of the criteria. You saw some of the entrepreneurship here today, but in Ashoka, you have to have a couple of more criteria as attached to you. You have to have a cutting-edge innovation in that country, and Ashoka works in over 70 countries. So for example, take the home healthcare industry. We're used to it in this country, but in a country like Egypt, or a very Muslim country, you don't have people coming into a house that's not a relative, and especially taking care of a male who's not your relative. It's not normal. It's very cutting edge, and it's very system disrupting, but for a good social purpose. So it has to be a cutting edge innovation, and it has to have potential for global impact. So a lot of what we saw today would have to have a scalable, to the potential of a global scale in the future. But these people come up with the most amazing ideas, and they come from many walks of life. And I was so thrilled by them that after working for Shoka for 6 or 7 years, I decided as a behavioral scientist, I needed to analyze this behavior. I needed to understand what makes these people tick. What makes them different? How did this happen? And why are they just not normal? So I wrote the book, and I went to interview hundreds of the entrepreneurs, and I came down to 18 examples in the book. And we'll talk about them in a little bit. But what I came to see was they're all value creators. And this is any kind of entrepreneurs. You are value creators. And basically, and this is a phrenology scan, which basically shows characteristics and tendencies that have propensities and sort of ratios in the brain. I'm not saying this is super 100% scientific, but it gives you a general idea. You'll notice in entrepreneurs in general, there are 8 types of brain activity that goes on, and you'll notice that in an entrepreneur, the trust is a little bit smaller, as you don't really share your ideas until you got them funded and you get them out. And you'll notice that patience is about pea-sized. So that you really want to get that idea going, and you want to get it out there, and you want to be the first, right? And so these are out. And what happens when you go to a social entrepreneur is that you've got similar characteristics. It changes a bit. Sometimes they're not quite so good as selling their ideas as a business or an innovation entrepreneur might be. But they also have a number of extra characteristics that are added on. And you'll see that most of them have an incredibly high degree of empathy, which means they know they have this amazing ability to put themselves in the shoes of other people. So that when I said before that the fellows in my book come from different walks of life, in the book, I have a veterinary surgeon from India, a truck driver from France, a widow from Nepal, a so-called, she self-labels herself as a housewife from Germany. I have a biochemist from France. They have all changed their life because they had such a high degree of empathy for something that happened to them, and we'll get into that also, that they became social entrepreneurs and totally changed the trajectory of their careers. They dream about a more equitable society, and that's primary, because social entrepreneurs' primary motivation is to solve a social problem. And that doesn't mean that it's without profit. It just means it's before profit, as that is the primary motivation. So we heard all these pictures today, and all asking for money, which is great, and all of them having a business plan, which is also fabulous, so they can self-sustain the good social work they're doing. But the primary motivation of these entrepreneurs are social. They think at the system change level, and they believe that people have the opportunity and the ability to change their own lives. And they usually are imbued with a wonderful, fascinating leadership ability that creates force fields that people want to join in the work that they're doing. That's a pitch for Oceans Global, because I know he's part of it. They see things in a new reality, and this reminds me of my favorite Marcel Proust quote, which he says, "The voyage of discovery is not in seeing new lands, but in seeing with new eyes." And social entrepreneurs have this amazing ability to shift paradigms, to see things very differently than you and I see them, and in that shift to create a whole new ability to change their own reality and the reality of the world. So remember before I said empathy is the major putting yourself in somebody else's shoes that makes the world go around for solving social problems. But in the book and in my research, the biggest thing I found that sets social entrepreneurs apart from anybody else is what I call the stickiness of past experiences. And what's that all about is that I found that almost to a one, social entrepreneurs kind of come into contact with something that reminds them of a past experience. It hits them in the present and changes the trajectory of their future for years to come. So I'm going to show you a couple of case in points when we go to it. But what happens is that you come face to face with something that has bothered you for a long time, that you really haven't been sort of in touch with. And you see it up front, and then something just generates in your entire body that says, I cannot ignore this any longer. I have to do something about this. And I kind of have a great idea of what I can do. And they just go out and do it. And frankly, I cannot tell you the respect I have for people that are able to just do this. So they have an ability, remember when I said they see things differently, to reframe social problems. So looking at poverty, they reframe it as a temporary hardship. Now, as a marketing person, the ability to label things is really important. And when you relabel things and reframe them and rename them, you change not only the way the outside world sees the problem, but the way people within the problem see themselves. So if I'm having an issue, and I'm living in poverty, and I hear, wait, it's a temporary hardship. Well, maybe it doesn't feel like that, but it gives me hope that it's not going to be the rest of my life. And it gives people like me saying, oh, it's a temporary hardship. These people can help themselves. We're going to help these people. It's going to change. They rename disability or people who are disabled as differently abled. So that I actually, personally, never use the word disability anymore or ever name somebody as disabled. I always say, oh, they're differently abled, so that they have other skills, right? They have other skills. It's that just because they may have a physical disability or a mental disability, they have other skills, and those are positive skills. So they have abilities maybe we don't, and for a large part, we don't. Autism. If you know anybody who is autistic, you'll know that they're focused, right? They're very persistent about things. They don't want to give up very quickly. You can't kind of pull them away. Well, how about a positive distraction, right? So that there's an example in the book where a man looked at those characteristics and said, wait a second. People with autism would make fabulous software checkers, because what does it take? You have to look for the bugs, you have to test software. Very persistent, very specific work. And so he started an organization to hire youth with autism, trains them to check software. Biggest client, IBM. So that when you relabel things and rethink them, healthcare. Years ago, it was all about getting sick people well. And now, it's really about keeping people well. So that it changes the shift from, we're gonna get you better, to, whoa, we're gonna keep you from getting sick. It's a whole different mindset. So that if they think linear, in linear terms, they know they'll never be able to change the world. Because you need an ecosystem, right, to change a system. You need a universal effort. So what the role of a social entrepreneur is to be a magnet, to attract people to become change makers, right? So that if you have enough people in the world. We have a lot of problems, right? We have a lot of social problems. What we need are more problem solvers. So that by attracting more and more change makers, you can multiply the effort. And since we're at UCLA and an academic institution, I made up a little equation which basically lays it out that if you add social entrepreneurs and change makers and you divide it by an enabling environment, then you get multiple sustainable social ventures and mutual value that is co-created. So, thank you. I did that figure. It's my bend towards academics. And so I'm actually, the book is being translated into Chinese this month and Spanish in September. And the Spanish publisher said, could you do a chapter, add a chapter in on a Spanish fellow? So I started to interview this amazing new fellow. And he has a whole program, an educational program, that he's now calling teampreneurs. And I never heard the term before, right? It's brilliant. And what you have to do is you have social problems. Each one of the entrepreneurs has social problem they have to solve. They have to solve it in teams. And if one member doesn't succeed, the team doesn't succeed. So he's also teaching entrepreneurs to work in teams and another multiplying effect in teams. So this is like a new word I have to put in my lexicon as teampreneurs. So there are 5 systems that I came up with in the book, and I'm going to go through it really quickly, that I noticed that entrepreneurs change, social entrepreneurs change. And one of them is restructuring institutional norms. So there's a norm in an institution and you disrupt it. And the example of that is Pradeep Sharma in India. He completely upturned the rickshaw industry. He's a veterinary surgeon riding in a rickshaw, and he finds that he starts talking to the rickshaw driver and says, how many years have you been riding a rickshaw? And the guy says, 22 years. And he said, and you haven't been able to buy it yet? And he says, no. A little known fact that the rickshaw industry in India is really basically owned by the mafia. So this is a good thing. I mean, they keep people from ever being able to buy their rickshaws, so they keep on paying rent on the rickshaws. So he starts a rickshaw bank, completely upturns the industry, and develops an ergonomic rickshaw, which that's a prototype of, where people can buy them from him, basically. He takes the rent money, every month he takes the money, saves it for them, and then within a few years, they buy their own rickshaw. There's a lot more to it, but you see how it changed an institutional norm that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Changing market dynamics. Have a market, you don't shift it, but you change around the market. You use the market for social purposes. So there's Greg Van Kirk in Guatemala, who realizes that people in rural villages, in mountaintops all over, they don't have access to reading glasses or some other electric bulbs. But people can't afford to buy these products and sell them because they can't afford to buy the tranche of products in the first place. So he changes the consignment industry, reverse micro-consignment. He pays for the first basket of goods. People go and sell it. And as they sell it, they pay him back slowly but surely, but then they can pay for the next group of goods, right? And so they can keep on selling it and supplying people with reading glasses and light bulbs and things they need to live a better life. There's using market forces to create social value, right? So then there's Albina Ruiz in Peru, who realizes, and she's an engineer, by the way, and I should have told you that Greg Van Kirk was a stockbroker before that, right? Albina is an engineer. She's born and bred in the jungles of the Amazon. She comes to Lima to study and realizes there are mounds and mounds of garbage in the slums of Lima. And she said, I don't understand that. In the jungle, we use every piece of food we get, and what we can't eat, we give it to the animals. Why is there so much garbage? Well, the government doesn't want to go up on the hills, the curvy hills where the slums are, and so they feel like people who are poor don't mind being dirty. And she said, no, that can't be. She's an engineer, right? So she develops a 3-wheeled small garbage truck that goes up the narrow roads up to the slums, and she actually gets people to pay to have their garbage picked up, because who doesn't want their garbage picked up, no matter how poor you are? You don't want to live in squalor. So she does the whole business, and how she supports it? Recycling. So they now recycle tons and tons, and those are the recyclers. Tons of jobs. Recycles plastic, makes money off it, sustains the business, picks up garbage, and everybody's happy. So she just completely disrupted the garbage industry, right? Advancing full citizenship, and I love this story because Andreas Heineke in Germany is the person who renames disability as differently abled. How many of you here have heard of dining in the dark? Or dialogue in the dark? Okay. Where he shifts the paradigm. People dine completely in the dark. You have a meal completely in the dark. Your guides, your maitre d', your hostess, your waiters are all blind. You have trouble functioning in this dark environment having meals, but your waiters and your maitre d's have no trouble at all, because that's the world they're used to. The paradigm shifts where the sighted rely on the blind. And you'll never have that disability idea in your head again. So that advances full citizenship, and he does it now with deaf people, and he does it with senior citizens as well, so that the paradigm shift around people not being valuable as they age is changed, and I am all for that. And that's a picture of dialogue in the dark. And then the last one is cultivating empathy. You heard about empathy in one of our pitches. It was great. You know what it is. I talked about it a lot. And then there's Mary Gordon in Canada, who brings a 6 to 9 month old baby to schools to teach kids the emotions of a child that is neutral. In other words, everybody loves looking at children, playing with children, and she uses that as a force of teaching kids at a young age empathy, okay? So those were sort of the ways that the 5 categories that I saw almost all of our entrepreneurs fit into. So the whole essence of things is, how do you go from status quo to status quo? Well, you invest in human value, and you believe people have the potential to change their own lives. You have a nothing is impossible attitude, which means there are no problems. There are only solutions. And you think profits without social compromise, right? And the last thing is find your true north, so that live your life according to your passions. And somehow something magical happens when you do that, and you find that life is more fulfilling, your work is more fulfilling, and your passions sort of line up. And I think we heard one of our last pitches talked about how when you and yourself are immersed in who you are and what you are, life is a lot more fulfilling. So the last is Francois Martin, my truck driver, who's now in the middle of the immigration crisis because he's in Calais, France. He said to me that when you invest in human value, there are never any taxes. And when you speak from your heart and your soul, everyone can understand the language you speak in. And that was my last interview for the book, and the one that just kind of sent chills up my spine. So what's the future looking like? Well, it's kind of bright. And I just took this off the Global Investment Network. Just came out, this article just came out this week in Fast Company, that in They researched 158 financial firms that invest in social impact, so impact investors, who have the three bottom lines as the triple bottom line as it has to be financially remunerative, it has to have a social value and an environmental value. So that's what an impact investor looks at. In the last year, there were globally about 77 billion assets under management as impact investments. That's huge. In this year alone, there were $15 billion given and committed to 7,500 individual deals. And this compares beautifully with the last couple of years. The numbers are much lower. So there's more and more impact investments. There's more and more people understanding that this is the way they need to go. So it's kind of a nice future for all of you pitching. The future is bright indeed. Remember, it's not either or profits or social benefit. It's both, and it can be more. So my favorite all-time quote, it's not because things are difficult that we do not dare, but it's because we do not dare that they are difficult. So I leave you with that, and with my last question of what kind of change do you want to drive in your lifetime?
Thank you so much. That was so wonderful. I think we all feel like we really learned a lot and were treated to something great there. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of the prizes and the winners. Would you like me to hold the Not that this is about me, but one of my life's bucket lists has been to hand out a giant check to someone on stage. So yes, so I'm fulfilling this. So very good. All right, so I'm back to report the results of our voting. The first prize we want to announce is the audience favorite, since all of you voted. Congratulations. And the winner is Oceans Global. Ocean Global. Yeah. Very good. Oh, good. This gives us a chance to acknowledge another group, and that is each of the groups had a mentor who is a seasoned entrepreneur themselves, and in Ocean Global's cases, it was Colin Mangum. So you were representing all the other mentors. Thank you very much, Colin. All right. Then, our three finalists, the judges had to struggle with how to rank the three finalists, and they struggled. I'm now going to announce them in reverse order. So, our third place finalist is P.S. I Love You. Please come on down. And their award is $5,000. Goes to Pure Game. Come on down. And their award is for $10,000.
being awarded to LA Conservation Corps.